You were born a knight of a noble house. Your family worshipped Heronius. Your father died in battle, and your mother was also a knight. You were steadfast and loyal to the people and the good of all. You always have been, and you believe you always will be. Tragedy struck. Politics, the thimble of royal blood that beats through your heart and through your veins, is what led to your mother's untimely demise. Assassins came in the night. Fortunately, you were at the barracks training and not at your house. Thus you were spared from the carnage. You have always worshipped Heronius. You still do, for now. But in this time of need, during this time of injustice, they did nothing. They could not do anything. They had no influence in the realm of politics. You then realize that for all their talks of valor and chivalry, which are all well and good, and you hold at the personal, deep heart of your ethical and moral beliefs, they're zealots. They will always seek out the evil, not that which actually destroys. They treat a symptom, not the cause. You often went on long walks in the forest to get over this great loss. You have no brothers or sisters. You are the last of your noble line. The discipline you have been taught since a child has served you well. You are adamant in your training. You do absolutely what is necessary to survive. You must survive. You must carry on the bloodline. During your walks in the forest, you met a druid. She was kind, but she had a very different way of looking at the world, this sort of true neutrality. It intrigued you. You still believe in laws, you still believe in order and discipline, but you have set zealotry behind you. You still worship Heronius. You don't blame him for what happened. You don't blame him for not acting, but you do blame the paladins, his followers, who did nothing. It was during these walks with her, where she acted as your guide through the woods, that you realized how much this hatred had been burning. She also introduced you to the concept of fair trade and showed you the benefits and the drawbacks of altruism, the tenets on which most of your ethical beliefs were based upon. So naturally, you turned to the library. You helped them. You met some other druids, some rangers, but you always belonged in the city. You always belonged in a formation. You discovered St. Cuthbert, god of retribution. You feel that you must atone for the sins of the world. You must make everything right, but the path Heronius takes is not right for you. It's not right for anyone. You realize that those in power have become corrupt. They must be redeemed. But by who? You are still young, only 14 years of age. You have been assigned and must go away, on patrol, to another city, where you'll then stand guard. There's a chance of revolt, and soldiers are needed. So you go, and you do your duty. Unfortunately, there was a revolt. Your officer ordered you to open fire with your crossbow into the crowd. You dutifully obeyed, believing that if you did not, your fellows would die. However, you deeply regretted the need for use of force on these peasants, these protesters. They were breaking the law, but it didn't feel right. You felt that if someone had discreetly taken out their ringleaders ahead of time, this all could have been prevented. That with wisdom, all of this could have been prevented, and this loss of life wouldn't have been necessary. This sense of injustice and lack of initiative from lords bothers you deeply. It scars you even deeper. You now realize that had the lords whom your family served been more forthright with the information they had, you could have predicted the assassin coming and your mother could have been saved. that had they focused more on protecting their own people, that the assassin wouldn't have made it in. You bite your tongue, but once your term of service is up, you don't sign up again. You leave on your own. You realize that the only way for you to make this world better is to take power yourself. So you wander. You eventually come across a village being ruled by a lord. The villagers beg and plead for you to take care of some monsters in the woods. Trivial for you, with all your combat experience, your horse, your lance, your crossbow, your longsword, and now your cudgel, your mace. You still worship Heronius, but St. Cuthbert is the deity you love. Your heart has grown dark. You've seen too much combat, too much bloodshed to ever be considered innocent, even at the age of 16. You realize that several of the villagers' lives have already been taken by these monsters. The Lord did nothing with his military. He merely sat in his castle. He did not dispatch hunters. So you wait and you plot. You speak with the peasants. He has been overtaxing them. You know these tax laws. You know what the king has ordered, yet he charges them more than what they owe. This man is corrupt. You must do something. So you recruit some other adventurers, storm the castle via the sewers, of all places. How undignified. But you win the day. You take over the castle and install yourself as lord. Now that you have a domain, you will do whatever is necessary to protect these people. Anything. They are impoverished. They cannot read or write, so you hire sages to teach them. The first order of business for you, there's an office on the first floor. You remove the door. Government needs to be transparent. Over the years, you make even more hard decisions. Who lives, who dies, how so? There are several torture chambers beneath you in the basement levels in the dungeon. You remove several of them, convert them into storage areas for emergency supplies in the event of a drought. You wonder if it's enough. You send spies and assassins to deal with other lords, to rid this world of corruption. Your heart has grown dark. The druids call upon your aid. You come, but you have your own reasons for doing so. You believe that an alliance with them will strengthen your own domain. They realize this. They have seen how dark your heart has grown, but they accept it. After you deal with the logging problem, these poachers, these people who abuse animals and force them to fight one another in pits, they are grateful. They will watch your forests, tell you when your crops are going bad. Now you have nothing but power and time. The king grows old and you know his son is wicked, so you plot, and you lie in wait for the perfect opportunity. This is lawful evil. You're not wicked per se. You have your own system of morals and beliefs. Some of you may wonder why he worships St. Cuthbert or she. It doesn't matter. That is because he believes that he must be redeemed for all the blood on his hands. While his clerics cannot be evil, he is not a cleric. Depending on how you handle religion in your games, this may not work. Believe me, this man is ruthless. This man is brutal. He will do whatever he believes is necessary to get what he believes needs to be done. Impalement of felons, as we would know them, criminals, serial killers, and rapists. Any penalties he enacts for crime will be severe, but he tries to give fair judgment. That's the lawful part of his character. I believe that this type of character can be an asset to any campaign. It's a very good counterbalance to a good group. and it adds a good group dynamic, in my opinion. If you're doing anything with a military campaign, absolutely let the officer be lawful evil. He will keep, he has authority over them, and you have to work with this player. You have to work with them very carefully. But if you do, they will keep the other players in line. They have the authority to do so and the means to do so. But you must also give the other players the ability to rebel, to keep him in line. Then the group becomes balanced. I often let my groups work out their own problems, and I feel this is a very good way of doing so. If there is one lawful evil character in the party, if he abuses his power too much, the rest of the party will turn on him. Lawful evil needs to be cunning. They need to be smart. You can't just get away with an abuse of power. Not as a player. You can't. You and if you they do as DM, you need to put an end to it. If they're cunning, it's very difficult to do so. What are your thoughts? What are your comments? I think that the cons of this are that some people take evil as Saturday morning cartoon villain, and they just skirt the boundaries of the law. If done well, it won't look like a Saturday morning cartoon villain. I think that people also need to understand that lawful means social acceptance. Maybe whenever there is an opportunity to make war or move into another's domain that would be publicly accepted, even on the fringe, he will use his charisma and influence. I would definitely recommend for lawful evil characters that they be given iron will and persuasive as feats. It's just a personal recommendation. It doesn't fit all styles, but it definitely goes with the discipline that I believe lawful evil characters need. Maybe, as with my example, they have become dark in the heart. When I created this character, the only thing keeping him from going berserk was that discipline, that iron will to keep to his own beliefs, to not be like the barbarians, to not be like the orcs. Well, leave your thoughts and comments in the description, and if anybody posts a response video or something like that, I'll do another video on this. This is kind of my way of just getting discussion going within the community. This is Will Hoyt, signing out.